In the moment, it feels like it's the end of the world if you don't get exactly what you want in the way you want. But when you really sit back and let the universe do its part, it's just, it's so good. So much better than you could have ever imagined yourself. Welcome to the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Van Slyke. My soul's mission on this planet is to help fellow introverts grow their online influence in a state of feminine flow and ease. While battling the woes of depression, anxiety, and even mom guilt, I've somehow managed to build a six-figure blog without the use of social media and without sacrificing my mental health. If I can do it, you can too. Hello, my love. Welcome back to another episode of the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I have kind of been a little MIA the past few weeks. I kind of got the download. I have been really, I would say, in my masculine for the past 6 or 7, since January, because I had major goals for my business and revenue. So I kind of got in my masculine and a little, I wouldn't say complete hustle. I don't hustle the way a lot of other people do it, but if it was definitely very like nose to the grindstone. And what made it feel all the more of a kind of hustle vibe is the fact that for so long, I wasn't seeing the physical evidence that anything I was doing was really paying off. And then late July, I get the download that I have done enough of the physical. I have done enough of essentially my part in what I know to do in the practical and the logical, and that it's time to take a break and surrender so that I can see what miracles look like. Because I don't want to do like the practical, logical thing. If I wanted to do that, I would be in a cubicle with a 9-to-5. I want to make space for miracles. And so the download for me, I knew in my heart that I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing in the physical, and that it was time to take a step back from the blog, from podcasting, and just freaking enjoy myself for a few weeks for the end of summer before the kids go back to school. So we've been traveling a lot, and I've not really been on a very productive routine. And the beauty of that, so I'm coming off Labor Day weekend as I record this, and I just had some of the highest earning days I've ever had, ever in the 8 years of blogging. Like pretty miraculous stuff. And that did not come from me continuing to ignore my intuition and ignore spirit. It came from surrender, but you can't fake surrender. And that's, as much as perhaps we believe we're spiritual, we're still human beings. And 90% of our brain's activity and our thoughts, basically our whole reality, 90% of it is from the subconscious. It's subconscious. So you can sit there and say, I surrender, I believe. But if your subconscious is not in alignment with that, then it's just basically hot air. And with that being said, I thought I wanted to share some really very practical hacks with you today to hack your subconscious when you are in fear, or if you feel like you're kind of hustling, you're spinning your wheels and you're not getting anywhere. Maybe you're just in the in-between, where you know you're doing the right thing, you know you're putting in the effort, but you're not seeing the results yet, because so much of this is a long game, especially blogging, making money digitally. And I'm sure the same, even though I don't have a brick and mortar, It takes a lot of investment up front, a lot of work, and you don't see a reward for, it can be years until you're making a significant profit from your efforts. So you need something to keep you regulated and hopeful and confident before you see the physical results. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I think I'm just going to get right into it. So I knew going into this back in January, when it's like my business had been basically rock bottomed. I lost 50% of my revenue, almost 50%. And I'd never had any sort of experience like that because I'd only grown. In the 8 years that I had been blogging, I had only grown exponentially. And then I have this year where it's like out of nowhere, the rug is ripped from under me. And it's so scary. So once I regulated myself through mindfulness, meditation, physical exercise, nature, always being sure that I stay on top of that to keep my nervous system regulated, because trust me, there were some panicky nights, sleepless nights where I'm like, am I going to have to move my family out of this new house? Am I going to be able to pay the bills? It was terrifying because as you see your savings dwindling, you're like, oh my God, is it just going to keep going in this direction? So once I really recommitted to my nervous system and grounding and regulating my nervous system, then working out of the fight or flight, you have to kind of accept what is. And speaking with other business owners who've been in the same situation as I had and gotten out of it, they warned me, this is going to be a 6 to 12 month long game situation where you're going to be putting in the effort, you're changing your strategy, and you're not going to don't even look for the results for that long. So it's like a waiting game as you are putting in the effort. And so there are days where you're going to wake up and be like, am I doing all of this for nothing? It's scary to put in the work, and there's no guarantee that you're going to make any money, that you're going to move the needle, and you're certainly not seeing any physical evidence of that. So what I decided to do, I did mention this a few episodes ago, where we have to, even though, yes, I pray, I believe in a higher power, when your subconscious is freaking out, you're going to have to do some work on that as well. And so I'd shared how I have found it so helpful through all this to just think about, reflect on, and journal those times where maybe I thought I wasn't going to triumph over whatever adversity was coming my way, but I did. And it actually ended up being, I ended up being all the better off for it. I came out even better than before. And so that's kind of step one, but I wanted to get into a little more detail on that, a little more practical today, because this has really helped. It's something I started to do 2 or 3 months ago. And basically what it is, just create a folder on your phone. And this folder, you can call it your ideal self. You can call it your best self. You can call it your magnetic self, your badass self, whatever you want to label it. You start a folder on your phone and you go through maybe emails or comments on your blog or social media comments that basically are praising you, that mean a lot to you, that are encouraging. Screenshot that shit and save it to your ideal self folder. Also go through your Instagram feed or go through all of your photos. Photos when you felt your best, you feel like you maybe looked your best, you were doing your best, you were killing it, you were excelling, whatever that means for you personally. Go through those beautiful moments where you felt on top of the world, you did the damn thing, and save those photos of yourself to the folder, Ideal Self. And so just to give you a few examples of what this looks like for me, I actually titled my folder Magnetic Self. And so there are DMs from podcast listeners that really impacted me and warmed my heart and gave me encouragement. So I've got screenshots of those DMs. I've got some beautiful comments from my blog and on Instagram of just readers that really appreciate me. And you can tell it's a genuine, authentic comment. So I screenshotted those. And then in terms of actual visuals and photographs, I've got a picture of me holding my first issue of Better Homes and Gardens when I was first featured in that magazine. I've got a picture of me in front of the car I bought right off the lot when my blog started really doing well and I finally trusted myself to take on a car payment like that. I have a picture of me when I landed my first really big sponsorship deal, and I'm down there at the actual manufacturer warehouse. And so that was a special moment. And I've got also a picture of me. I had gained like a lot of weight during COVID. I drank way too much wine, ate way too many sweets. And it was one of those moments too, where I was right before that happened. I had actually gotten really healthy. I was getting to where I wasn't even drinking alcohol. I really had become like a health nut, but I wasn't even forcing myself. And then COVID happened. I felt like it was such a setback, like I would never lose the weight and I was just always going to struggle. And then after that happened and I was kind of rock bottomed in terms of my physicality and my fitness, I actually, after that, I got really serious about it again. And I came back and created the best physique I've ever had in my life. So there was a picture of me after I lost the weight with like the abs. I know that may sound superficial, but that was a visual representation of how I can trust myself to come back. Like I am the comeback queen. And yeah, I might fall, I might stumble, but I will not lay down and die, baby. So those are just a few examples of some of the things that I have in that folder. And so on those days when it doesn't seem like anybody listens to the podcast, like I'm getting no feedback on that, or when I've sitting there for hours and hours putting in the work on my blog and I'm not seeing any physical evidence of those page views increasing or revenue increasing, I can look back on those moments and there's really something that clicks and resonates with my subconscious. And it's just an added layer of trusting the process, trusting that God, the universe, always delivers. And most of the time too, in those photos, I can truly see where Source delivers something way better than I could have ever planned myself. And that's what allows for that beautiful, true moment of surrender. When you decide, when something clicks in your soul and in your subconscious, and you know that God's ways are so much higher and more awe-inspiring than anything, the control freak in you with that wants. That typically that's like a disappointing, In the moment, it feels like it's the end of the world if you don't get exactly what you want in the way you want. But then when you really sit back and let the universe do its part, it's just, it's so good. So much better than you could have ever imagined yourself. So I feel like it's kind of doing that for me has really killed two birds with one stone, because it keeps you in faith, but it also keeps you from those like desperation vibes of like trying to over control everything, because you know it's going to be okay. It always is. And you want to be surprised. You don't want to know every little detail of your future. Who wants that? No, not me. So I hope you give this hack a try. And I'm telling you, it made such a difference for me in those, especially in the mornings when you're just like, oh, you know what you have to do to get the needle moving in your business, but you start to lose that motivation because you're not seeing any evidence that it's doing anything. So that really helps. And then just moments when you feel like a damn failure, when you're going through some hard shit, or when other people don't support you, don't see the potential in you, when you don't really have anybody, you've got to be your own best friend. And I think just patting yourself on your own damn back and looking back and seeing physical evidence and showing your subconscious that physical evidence that you have done it before, you will do it again. You always do. You are a victor, not a victim. It's going to make all the difference. I promise you. And with that, I was going to give you the second hack that has really been helping me through more plateau situations. And I think I'm just going to save that for the next episode. So there's going to be a part 2 of the subconscious mind hack. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm sending you so much love, and I know you can get through anything, baby. You too are the comeback queen, because I'm not anything special. If I can do it, you can too, and you can get through anything. So with that being said, I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. I make no money from this show. Actually, it costs me money to produce and host. So the best way you can show your support for this passion project of mine is by leaving the show a 5-star written review on Apple. Also, if you would like to contribute monetarily to the show, you can leave a tip in my digital tip jar, which I have the link in the show notes. You can always share it with a friend who you think could benefit from the message, or even better, you can take a screenshot of this episode, upload it to your Insta stories, and tag me in it at Designing Vibes. Sending you my love.